What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I'm your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend. And as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. Happy New Year. Happy 2025. It is our first episode of the new year. And I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I really was so excited to come into this with really high spirits, really ready to go, really excited. And then as I was setting everything up to record, my tripod literally broke into two pieces in my hands. I don't know what happened. I have not had it for that long. So, the universe is really trying to humble me as we go into this new year, but I'm not going to let it keep a bad bitch down. Absolutely not. Not on my watch. I was like, I have things to talk about. The show must go on. You guys are not going to kill my vibe. So luckily I'm a hoarder and I hold on to everything. And I still had my very first tripod that I started the show with back in October of 2023. Like when I upgraded my tripod, I was like, I'm going to need this one day. And thank God I kept it because that's how, my video girlies are watching me. And it really just goes to show like the smoke and mirrors of show business because you guys are currently on like I said, my old tripod, which is all balancing on top of a collectible edition of Wicked, my 2013 MacBook Pro that literally does not turn on anymore. But like I said, I'm a hoarder and I can't get rid of anything. So though, yes, the screen is cracked on this MacBook. Yes, it does not turn on. I just can't part with it for some reason. It's probably something I should work on maybe with my therapist, but that's for, it's for another day. And then you guys are also on top of just a storage bin of things that are usually in my closet. I usually keep my hats in this. So currently my bed is just covered in my hats, but that's show business, baby. It is what it is. Moving on, like I said, it is 2025. We have some big things coming up this year. I'm so excited to dive in. If you've been listening for a while, you know how excited I am for Freakier Friday, and we are finally in the Freakier Friday release year. It is coming up. We are 7 months away. I cannot wait for this movie. If anybody is new here and hasn't been listening for the last, I would say 6 or 7 months, I talk about Lindsay Lohan as if she's my biological mother, as if I talk to her on the phone every single week. I don't, just, spoiler alert in case you didn't know, but Freaky Friday is my favorite Lindsay Lohan movie, and when the sequel started getting teased, I was literally I was floored. And during the filming and all the, the press for it, whatever, I was tuned the fuck in and we chatted about it. I feel like every week for months on the podcast. And now, of course, it's a lull. But God, if you were tired of me talking about Freakier Friday in 2024, prepare to be sick of me in 2025 because all I can think about is this new Freaky Friday sequel. It is literally taking up my entire brain and I cannot wait. But before we have Freakier Friday, before we get to August, we do have another very exciting moment in pop culture happening already in 2025. In just a week away, we will finally find out what this January 14th Beyonce announcement is. I'm recording on the 14th. I record on Tuesdays and it just seems serendipitous. It's like Beyonce was really looking out for me when she decided to make this announcement on a Tuesday of next week. So I will have pretty much my live reaction for the episode that night. So we will chat about it next week. I am so excited. I still don't know what it's going to be, but honestly, anything Beyonce does, I'm going to eat with a silver spoon. So it could be a fucking new scent of sacred. And I will be like, oh my God, she's a creative genius. She can do no wrong in my eyes, but we are so close to whatever this announcement is. Obviously, it's going to be something big. You don't just tease something like that and not make it, live up to the hype. So we will cover that next week. I am so excited. But before that, we have some very exciting music to chat about, so I think we just start things by getting into the show and kicking off our new releases from last week and what's coming up this week, because we are only 7 days into the new year, and Bad Bunny is already setting the bar so high for these bitches because his new album is immaculate. My only concern and my only problem with Bad Bunny's new album is the fact that he released it during my winter because I'm in New York, and all I want to do is be listening to this album on a rooftop with a margarita in my hand throwing ass, and it currently feels 22 degrees outside. So that is honestly the only complaint that I have about this album, and I know it is summer in other parts of the world, and I envy every single person who is currently able to be on a roof with a margarita in their hand and shaking their ass to this new Bad Bunny album because, God, I am counting down the days to summer for that reason. I envy you so much. Full transparency, I don't know what he's saying on these songs. I don't speak Spanish. I don't know anything he is saying, but I still vibe with it. I know that I align with him politically, I know that he's like with the shit, like he knows what's good, like he's not, he's not problematic. So I'm like, you know what? When you look that good and your music sounds that good, I'm down with it. It's so good. I've just been vibing to it at the gym, on the subway. Like, I am so into this Bad Bunny album. And I wasn't expecting it to like hit as early as it did in the new year. Like, I was not thinking by my first episode of the new year would have an album to chat about, but expect the unexpected. You never know what these bitches are going to do. But yes, loving the new Bad Bunny album. It really is like the first major release of the year, and it is kicking things off with a killer start. But we also have some killer releases coming up this week on Friday, January 10th. We have Jade releasing her third or fourth, I've lost count, but it is called It Girl. And I said this last year, but I really do think Jade is going to be like one of the breakout stars of 2025. She just has that, for lack of a better word, It Girl factor. And I am so excited for this new single. If you were not already listening to Jade, get on board because God, her music is incredible. I'm so excited for this new single. And then we also have a new single from Ollie Alexander, formerly known as Years and Years. He is releasing When We Kiss this Friday. He has a new album coming out in February 7th. So these are all like the singles leading up to it. I've been loving everything he's released so far. I've gushed about him on this podcast so many times before, so I'll spare you guys this time. But new music rather from Ollie Alexander, new music from Jade. 2025 is already feeding us. I am so excited for, what other music tidbits we have in store. We have Rebecca Black later this month. We have Miley pretty much confirming like her album's coming sooner than we think. We are wasting no time on music releases this year. And honestly, fine by me. Just keep this party going and just like keep the good vibes up because the rest of the world is kind of on fire. So if we have to lean on our music and our TV, whatever it is to, get us through, we got to do what we got to do. Moving right along into our pop culture moments from the week that were just too pop to handle. Some pop culture rapid fire. We have some lawsuit things to chat about this week. We're getting legal. I'm putting on my little judge cloak and I'm ready to just like serve these bitches because what the fuck is going on? So first things first, kind of piggybacking off of an ongoing story from 2024, and it seems like this might be nearing the end, is the Jay-Z lawsuit. So obviously I've been covering it for a while. I feel like it's been going on for like a month and a half, maybe 2 months now. Just earlier this week, him and his team were given permission to file for dismissal due to inconsistencies within the case. So they have to file for dismissal by February 6th. So that's coming up in like a month or so. The plaintiffs have to respond by the end of February. And then we have the whatever the response from that will be mid-March. So this is going to be dragged out a little bit longer, but the fact that he's able to file for dismissal of the case definitely goes to show that there are some, there's either, the inconsistencies are strong enough to kind of prove that like he wasn't at this party. I was talking about this a while ago, but the inconsistencies being like there were some reporters saying he was at another party. The woman, the Jane Doe in the case who said that she was the victim, saying that her dad picked her up that night, but has no recollection picking her up. She also was like mentioning other celebrities at this party, and those celebrities have not been tied to that party. They were like, some of them were like in other parts of the world, if I remember it correctly. So definitely some inconsistencies. It's been 25 years now since this happened. So it's going to happen where things come up wrong. And like I said, the judge, Tony Busby, he doesn't really have a problem with like just kind of like feeding lies into a case to try to make it a little bigger than it is. So I keep saying every time I report on it, obviously I will always take the side of the victim, but in this case, it does kind of seem that things were kind of just trying to be fabricated and blown up a little bit more than they needed to. So looks like the Jay-Z case is coming to a close by March or so. So we will see what happens there. Again, it is such a touchy subject to chat about because obviously like we will always believe the victim here at Too Pop to Handle, but while reading this case and like learning more about Tony Busby and like all the things that have gone on behind the scenes with him and just like reading up on him more and like how people in Texas feel about him, where he's from, he's a government official there, and just all the cases he does, like just doesn't, when his name is tied to a case, it just doesn't really doesn't start out well. It's almost like when, oh my God, Justin Baldoni signed with Johnny Depp's PR team during the whole Blake Lively thing. It just kind of automatically gives me that like, something's not wrong. It's like a red flag, red alert. So it's just kind of one of those situations. So as always, I'll keep you guys updated, but I thought that was like a major update for 2025 to start out that way. But moving on to our next lawsuit, because they are just firing them off like they're free t-shirts at a baseball game. So earlier this week, it was reported that Brandon Garrett, who was one of Nicki Minaj's managers or somebody on her team, filed a lawsuit against Nicki Minaj, claiming that she attacked him after a Pink Friday 2 show in Detroit in April of 2024. So it's coming up in almost a year now from when it happened. According to the lawsuit, Garrett alleges that Nicki Minaj finished her show, called him to the dressing room, and then when he arrived, Nicki yelled at him for sending someone else to pick up one of her prescriptions. He then alleged that Nicki Minaj smacked him, in the face, slapped his wrist, knocked documents out of his hand, and then said that she threatened him by telling him that his life is over. Now, in the lawsuit, he is seeking damages for assault and battery and infliction of emotional distress. The Detroit police have reportedly issued a warrant to the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office for the decision whether or not the charges are warranted. So definitely, when you think about Nicki Minaj in 2024, the first thing I think of is the whole feud with her and Meghan. We really saw a mean side of Nicki last year where she really was just kind of like going for the jugular at anybody who came at her the wrong way. Obviously, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the dressing room. I don't know what happened. But when you think about 2024 and like the way Nicki was acting, like just like looking at her Twitter from 2024, when I was doing my recap of the year, I was like going back, obviously, and just like refreshing on like what happened in the Meghan and Nicki case because it was just so insanely dramatic and just dumb to say for lack of a better words. And the things that she was tweeting about Meghan and just like the way she was like replying to like pop base and replying to fans and blocking people, like she really was on a rampage at the beginning of 2024. And then like she went on tour and it kind of like acted like nothing happened. But like I definitely could see some pent up anger inside Miss Minaj in that time period, just like, looking at the facts and things going on. Her team or lawyer rather has come out and said that at this time, no complaints have been served upon Mrs. Petty, which Petty is her, funny enough, is her married name, which it's just funny that Nicki Minaj, now her name is Nicki Petty. Like it really fits, and it just like, it really fits the scene. So he said, at this time, no complaint has been served upon Mrs. Petty, and therefore we are unaware of the specific allegations. However, if the lawsuit is as reported by TMZ, it is completely false and frivolous. We are confident that the matter brought by this ex-assistant will be resolved swiftly in Mrs. Petty's favor. So, it was her assistant. I mean, we hear all the time about like assistants from the early 2000s dealing with like the craziest shit. There's that book all about like Anna Wintour's past assistants and like all, not that she was like a monster boss, but just like all the things that they had to do. And you think of in the terms of assistants like Devil Wears Prada, like you just think of these assistants back in the day as like people who really were running to get coffee and like did kind of get the shitty end of the stick. And I don't know if Nicki has moved on from that. Like she's running to grab her prescriptions. Like I don't know their relationship in that sense. Like clearly she's trusting him with something like that. But I'm very interested to see like where this goes. And if they're alleging that like this case was never even served to Nicki, but it's being reported by TMZ, like that's a little fishy. But I honestly wouldn't put it past Nicki to like be served with this and try to play dumb and act like it didn't happen or like act like she didn't know about it. After seeing how she acted last year and like thinking of the people that she surrounds herself with, I mean, look at her husband. That should like speak volumes enough. And then like I was saying on my recap episode, like between Drake and Lil Wayne last year, just like making fools of themselves and just like all the people who kind of run in her circles, like Ice Spice kind of shot herself in the foot. Not to make a joke about that, the Meghan of it all, but it just is like all these people that Nicki are surrounded by really do kind of thrive off of drama, and that's coming from a Barb. Like I love Nicki. I was listening to Pink Friday literally today at work. Like I love Nicki. I do. I just think she kind of lives in her own world, and she thinks that there's like no consequences to her actions. So I'm very curious to see where this goes and how she handles it. I haven't seen any crazy Twitter rants yet, which is surprising for her because usually the first thing she does is open her phones and will post like, do you remember the tweets that she was posting during the Meghan thing? They were literally like 13,000 characters. They were so fucking long. Like, I don't know. She definitely doesn't bite her tongue or hold back. So we will see where that goes, and I'll keep you guys updated there. But we're gonna flip the script and talk about some more positive things, because we're not going into the new year with that energy. Maybe that's why my tripod broke. They were like, you were kicking off your first two rapid fire moments of the year with two lawsuits. Like, maybe get your shit together, Andrew. We're here for positivity. And you know what? I'm gonna give it to you guys because Meghan Markle is back, which is so exciting. If you did not see, Meghan Markle is coming out with her new cooking show on Netflix. It's called With Love Meghan. She reactivated her Instagram last week, posted like a little teaser of 2025. She wrote out on the beach, so cute, which just her coming back to Instagram alone, I was gagged because obviously she literally got bullied off the internet after they moved to the US and like everything that went down there, and just like having to remove yourself from the royal family because of the way you're being treated. Like, that is a red flag enough. So when she deleted her Instagram, honestly, I understood. I was like, yeah, this is what she needs to do. So seeing Meghan Markle back on Instagram is crazy. Also, she has the @Meghan, which I don't remember if that was her handle before. I don't know if she just had like her first name, which is kind of insane. Like, that's a big handle to get. Like, I would die to have just @Andrew. That's like it's a big thing to tackle on Instagram. So I don't remember if that was her handle before or not, but regardless, she is back and I am thrilled, and I am very excited to see whatever this new show is. So it is supposed to be reimagining the genre of lifestyle programming, blending practical how-tos and candid conversations with friends, new and old. Meghan shares personal tips and tricks, embracing playfulness over perfection, and highlights how easy it can be to create beauty even in the unexpected. She and her guests will roll up their sleeves in the kitchen, the garden, and beyond, and invite you to do the same. And this is just such like a perfect avenue for her to go down. Lifestyle content is where she really thrives. If we all remember her blog, The Tig, back in the day, like, she really thrives in this lifestyle environment. And I think this is like the perfect way for her to make her comeback. It's her show. She's able to do what she wants with it. She's a producer on the show as well. And this is part of that, the deal that they signed back, I think it was 2020. Yeah, in 2020, they signed that 5-year Netflix deal for like $100 million. And this is part of that deal. So it just makes sense. She's been working with Netflix for a while now. I think she probably has a comfortability with them, and like, she's able to really do what she wants with the show. So I'm very excited to see what this has in store and just have this resurgence of Meghan Markle. She deleted her Instagram in January of 2018. So it's been 7 years since she's been on the internet, which, that's a good amount of time. I feel like Selena Gomez, some of these other celebrities could take a note of like, hey, I'm going to take a social media break and I'll come back 7 years later. Maybe J-Lo could benefit. There are some celebrities who really could benefit from a serious social media break. And I think Meghan really did kind of, she did the right amount of time for a social media break. Like, that's what I want. She's setting the standard there. But I love a lifestyle cooking kind of vibe. I love that show, like kind of shows. Like, I always say, like, Rachel Ray raised me. I love a cooking show. So very excited to see what she brings to Netflix. Also excited to see what guests she brings on. I feel like her contact list must be crazy. So I can't even imagine the people that are going to come on this show, and the way that people are like rallying behind her. I think it's going to do really, really well on Netflix, and I hope it kind of picks up and becomes a new thing. Also, Netflix is really just kind of like reinventing themselves. I feel like doing this kind of content, all the live things that they're doing, like, they're really trying to like move the needle and just do like new things for streaming. And I'm kind of excited to see what they do in the next year or so. I have my eye on Netflix. They're doing some out of the box things for where they started. Like, remember when Netflix used to be, you would order the DVDs to your house, and now they're Monday Night Raw every single week. They just did the Beyonce Bowl. Like, they're really they're doing some big things in the streaming world. So I'm excited to see what they have in store. And like I said, this just makes so much sense for Meghan Markle. And I think it's like the perfect way for her to just like come back into the public eye. The people love her. I mean, people always say, they're like, that was the best PR move the royal family could have made. And everybody bullied her out of the royal family. Like, everybody loved her. I mean, what's not to love about Meghan Markle? So I, for one, am very excited to see what is in store for this show, and we will chat about it when it comes out. It actually comes out very soon. It comes out January 15th. So that's like literally next week. By the time you guys are listening to next week's episode, it drops that day. So very excited. I don't know if I'll watch it every single week or if it comes out all at once. Like, I'll figure out my cadence there, but I'll give you my thoughts once I finish it, and we will take it from there. But just very exciting, some very exciting content being served to us so early in the new year. We love to see it. This next story is kind of, I don't know if we're still saying a Roman Empire, but like this is a Roman Empire of mine that has been dragged out for years. We're talking since like 2021. And for this to finally all kind of like come full circle 6 or 7 days into 2025, Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster hard launching their relationship was not the way I thought 2025 was going to start. When I saw these People magazine photos come out, I literally had to do a double take. I like had to like rub my eyes and like double check that my glasses were on because I was like, what am I looking at? If you don't know the lore behind Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster, like I said, this literally goes back to like 2021 when the Music Man started doing their previews and the two of them were just could not stop talking about each other. They were literally every interview they did. Obviously they were co-stars, so like it makes sense, but they were doing it to a level that was just like they were obsessed. It was like Ariana and Cynthia level. Like they could not get enough of each other. And then they star in Music Man, they do their thing, they go on, they do their own thing, whatever. And then in September of 2023, Hugh Jackman and his wife randomly file for divorce after 27 years, which just like came out of nowhere. And they were together literally, like I said, for 27 years. They met on the set of a TV show back in the 90s. And like, they were just like, this Hollywood couple. And for them to just like get a divorce 27 years later, it was very weird. And of course, everybody like raised their brow and was like, well, if you think back, it was only a year and a half ago when all of this stuff happened with Sutton Foster. What's going on now? And then fast forward to October 2024, Sutton Foster files for divorce from her husband of 10 years, which just like immediately lit the flames all again and just like made the drama swirl around. And here we are now, January 7th, 2025. They are seen holding hands, walking around LA. He skipped the Golden Globes to go to see her in Once Upon a Mattress on Broadway. Like they're fully just like hard launching. And the fact that it's like a People exclusive, these aren't just like paparazzi photos. A People exclusive is like a set up photo shoot by your PR team. It's like People's Sexiest Man Alive. Like it's set up by your team to make an announcement. So these photos might look candid to like the regular eye, but as soon as you put that People magazine exclusive stamp on a photo, they've been planning this for months. That email chain has 27 back and forth emails. Like this was a full hard launch of their relationship. And I'm honestly gagged. I never thought we would see the day where like we found out what went down behind the scenes of The Music Man with Sutton Foster and Hugh Jackman. And I actually, as shocked as I am, I'm very glad that it's coming up now because, like I said, this all started coming down way before the podcast. And then in September of 2023, when they filed for divorce, I wasn't recording the podcast yet. And I remember when Sutton Foster and her husband filed for divorce last year, I was going to talk about it, but I was like, there's so much lore to go into it. And like, if they would have filed for divorce and like Hugh Jackman and her started dating right away, I think it would have like covered it right away. But it was just like, they filed for divorce, they went their separate ways, and it was like, it was what it was. Now I'm like, oh, bitch, I am on board. Let's chat about it. Obviously, everyone's like, well, did they cheat? Did they this? Did they that? Who knows? Like, that's the thing with celebrity couples. And like, when things like this happen, like, we'll never really know what goes on behind the scenes. But when you really look at it, like, it appears that there was no foul play from what we know. Like, Hugh and his wife have been divorced for now over a year. She filed for divorce in October. Like, it really could have just been as simple as like, they met when they did. They had this love connection. They went back to their relationships, did their thing, and they were longing for each other for like, not to sound like cheesy or for like lack of a better words, but like, I guess like if you meet someone and you have that like connection on that pull and like you can't stop thinking about it, I think it's more of a disrespect to their wife, and husband at the time to like stay in that relationship and continue to try to make it work when like you're thinking about somebody else. So there's a lot of like chit chat online, like, oh, I can't stand by this. I don't think it's right. It's like, the two of them are so far established in their careers, and they're not like they're like young spring chickens. They're not like in their 20s. They have families, they have kids, like they've been married. Hugh was married for 30 years before he got a divorce. So like, if they're gonna hard launch this relationship and like really just like pull the trigger and go full throttle, I think this really is something very serious for the two of them. And I think they've obviously put a lot of thought into this to come to the conclusion like, hey, we want to be together and we want to do this in the way that's going and to like, be respectful to our ex-spouses or whatever. So I don't know. Seeing these photos this morning, I literally was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Because I honestly thought we like buried the hatchet on this relationship and all of this, but expect the unexpected, I guess that's what we're thinking for 2025, because you never know what the fuck you're going to wake up to. And on the topic of some love stories, which kind of perfectly bridges us into the main part of the show, which is the Golden Globes, Tom Holland and Zendaya are engaged. And I am putting it out there now. I think everybody in the world should get the day off, should get a paid holiday when Tom and Zendaya get married, because it really is going to be like the millennial royal wedding. This is such a huge deal. I feel like we have been with this couple literally from the beginning. We have watched their relationship blossom. But what's fun about Tom and Zendaya is we only see what they allow us to see. They're not a couple that really is like spotted out and about often. They really only share what they want to be seen. And I was like thinking back on their relationship timeline, and then I just started thinking about like Zendaya and how we've really been like following her for so long. She's been around, God, since like Disney Channel days. Like, she has been in our lives for so long. And if you think back, like Zendaya used to post online so much. She was chronically online, always posting. Remember like the Beyonce video? She was dancing in her car. Like, she used to post everything. And then things just get weird with the internet and like, the parasocial relationship of it all. And people get very caught up and like, oh, when you give them too much access, it starts to get weird and people like overstep boundaries. And she has reeled back so much over the years, and seeing her and Tom do anything together is such a big deal because we're not overexposed to them. So it just makes sense that like they announced their engagement so subtly at the Golden Globes of her just wearing an engagement ring, exposing a little tiny T tattoo that she got on her side. Like, it was the most Zendaya coded way to announce an engagement, and I am obsessed. I love the ring. I am so excited for them. And also, not to mention, I cannot even imagine how insane Law Roach's phone and email inbox must look this week. Like, the amount of brands and designers that are probably reaching out to him right now trying to secure that Zendaya wedding dress spot. I'm sure they already have it figured out. Like, they're very calculated and smart with like the way that they do things. So I'm sure she already knows who's designing it, and I'm sure, that's already kind of like well established, but I cannot imagine what Law Roach's inbox started looking like as soon as that ring was flashed on that red carpet. My fucking God. But congratulations, Tom and Zendaya. Like I said, we should all collectively have off on the day that they get married, because I just feel like it should be a day of celebration. It is just so important for the culture that it just feels right. Like, we should all be celebrating on Zendaya's wedding day. Is it just me? I don't know. I'm just always ready for like a day off from work, but that's just me. But like I said, the main points of the show this week are the Golden Globes. So that was like the perfect bridge into it. This Golden Globes this year was fantastic, and we're going to get into her in just a little bit. Let me just start out by saying that Nikki Glaser has single-handedly saved the Golden Globes, and she has set the bar so incredibly high for any award show host in the future. More about her in a bit. Let's start the night at the red carpet, because, that's where the fun really begins. And I mean, the biggest moment on the red carpet to me personally was Miley Cyrus and Ariana Grande reuniting on the red carpet. I mean, first and foremost, Miley Cyrus leaving the house, it only happens like 3 times a year. So to see her walking a red carpet, I was already floored. And then when I saw the videos of her and Ariana, I was... oh my God, I literally could have died. Like, they've been friends for so long, and they have such a deep friendship. Like, anytime they are asked about each other in an interview, they have nothing but good things to say about each other. And like, they really have had each other's back for so long. Miley has said time and time again that like, if she ever needs something from Ariana, she has never said no, and vice versa. I mean, if we think back to like the backyard session that they did back in the day, that cover they did on those blow up couches, like the two of them really have been friends for so long. So just seeing the two of them reunited and back together, it just makes my gay little heart so happy. That being said, I also absolutely loved Ariana's dress. She was saying how it was like a nod to the Yellow Brick Road with that pale yellow she was wearing. But like, let's be honest, this bitch is gunning for the role of Audrey Hepburn in the upcoming biopic. And honestly, I'm not mad about it. I could also see Anne Hathaway, Emma Stone. Like, there are some other people that I could see playing the role, but Ariana is clearly gunning for this part. And it also appears that she already has another acting project lined up. She was like doing one of those interviews on the red carpet, and when they asked what's next. She was like, I literally can't say I'll get in trouble. So it appears that like she really is entering this actress era, which as much as I love pop star Ariana, it's her passion, it's what she wants to do. I get it, I guess. And you mean she released Eternal Sunshine without even knowing it was going to come out that year. Like it was such like a last minute project and it was still phenomenal. So she could be, she could do both. Like she is an artist who kind of does work best under pressure, it appears. Like if you think like Thank You Next, she was going through her breakup and everything with Mac Miller, and they were just like, unfortunately after the bombing at her concert, like she just like was ready to like get back to work and just like get on, kind of distract herself almost, which isn't the safest tactic, I will say. But, if it produces a track like We Can't Be Friends, I'm not going to complain. I'm not her therapist. I don't need to be the one listening about it after. So that being said, it does appear that she is ready for this like actress era. And after seeing that bitch as Glinda in Wicked, I am ready for whatever she has up her fucking sleeve. I also have to give a little shout out to no other than Cecily Collette Taylor, who plays young Nessa Rose in Wicked. The way that little girl has won all of our hearts, and she had all but 2 lines in the Wicked movie. I love that diva. Also, her little dress, it was giving like an homage to Judy Garland. Her interviews on the carpet were so cute. Like, I just love that diva. I'm so excited to see this little girl appear at every single award show going forward and give us a little interview with that squeaky little voice. Oh, I just love it. She is so adorable. I love her. That's really all I have from the red carpet. I'm not really a big fashion person. Like, I can appreciate a good look here and there. I thought Demi Moore looked fabulous. Nicole Kidman looked fabulous. But like, what else is new? I'm trying to think any looks I didn't like. Oh, I didn't love Catherine Hahn's look from Agatha All Along. I just thought it looked very like not Golden Globes. Like it wasn't bad. I just was like, she was wearing like a long sleeve top with a yellow skirt. It just looked like not Golden Globe outfit. She didn't look bad per se, but like it just looking at everybody else on the carpet, I was like, what were you getting dressed for? Like, what did your invitation say that everybody else's didn't? Because you were awfully casual for the Golden Globes, but maybe that was her vibe. Like maybe that's what she was going for. She was like, I don't need to be the most glam person at the Golden Globes. Like Nicole Kidman is here to do that, So I don't like talking bad about people's fashion choices because like, I don't know. I'm not a stylist. I'm wearing a fucking ASOS sweater and basketball shorts that you guys can't see under the table. Like, I'm not here to give fashion police advice. That's not what I do. But that being said, let's talk about this show because Nikki fucking Glaser, the icon that you are, she was the first ever solo female to host the Golden Globes in 82 years. And can we just talk about, like, look at what happens when we let females do something for the first time? If only the entire world could have understood that back in November when we were voting for the election. But you know what? We'll let bygones be bygones. Nikki Glaser, thank you for showing these bitches how to host an award show. She did not miss a single beat, from the Timothée Chalamet jokes, from the holding space jokes, the joke about Keith Urban playing guitar too much, making Nicole Kidman go work. Like, she was on a roll. Also, her looks, she looked fucking phenomenal in every single look she pulled out. And I'm just like, we are so past the point of needing men to host anything. Straight men. As a gay man, I will always say I would love to see one of my, my limperous brothers up there on stage. But like, I think we are so past the point of straight men hosting award shows because it's just like not what they're meant to do. You know what I mean? Like, you have another purpose in life. I'm not sure what that is yet, but like, there's got to be some reason that God created straight men. Like, I guess really just to like keep the human race going. But like, other than that, like, I think the girls and the gays and the theys got it. Like, I really think we're holding it down. And I think like, even just like thinking back to like Joe Coy hosting last year, like that was so painful. And seeing the insane flip that they did this year with Nikki Glaser, like I think she needs to just have a permanent hosting spot, at least for the Golden Globes, because she was fucking phenomenal. It was just unbelievable. And like everybody is on the same page. Like everybody agrees. Everybody thinks it was great because it was. Usually when things happen, there's a mixed bag of reviews. Some people hate it, some people love it. I have seen pretty much, I would say like 95% of everybody saying she was fantastic as this host. Everything felt so natural. She seemed so comfortable on the stage. Her jokes were like, they pushed the limit a little bit. Like the Diddy joke, she definitely was pushing the envelope there, but she did it in a way that didn't like, it didn't attack any one person, and it was more just like laughing at the matter of fact. And I think it was like when she started it, I definitely was a little like, "Ooh, girl, why are you starting the show with a Diddy joke?" But she timed it so well, and she only said it for like a few seconds that like she was able to really like steamroll over it and just like get on to the next joke, that it had this moment, we laughed, we kind of like cringed, and it went on to the next joke. Like her timing, her pulse on the crowd, and like who she could pick on and who she couldn't. Like it was just flawlessly done. It was perfectly executed. They're already trying to secure her for 2026, which is like the smart thing to do. And I'm so excited to see what else this opens up for Nikki, because I feel like I said, like after she did the roast of Tom Brady, it really opened up so many doors for her, including the Golden Globes. And it's just what she deserves. You know, she's fucking hilarious. She's always been hilarious. And I'm happy that like we're finally getting this, the recognition that she really deserves she's always been famous, of course, but like in the general public kind of thing. Somebody else who I feel like has always kind of been famous to like, again, the girls and the gays and like the people who really do have their pulse on culture, but like the general public don't appreciate them, is Demi Moore. I didn't realize that this was her first award ever for acting, and the fact that she's been doing this for so long. And I feel like Demi Moore is such like a staple in like icons in our space. I tend to forget that there's like a whole world outside of like pop culture Twitter, gay Twitter, movie Twitter, but like I feel like Demi Moore's had this like upcome in the last 2 or so years. She's been working with oh my god, Brad Goreski as her stylist, and he's been just like killing these looks and just kind of like giving her this like new lease on life, I feel like. And then like with The Substance doing so well, I still haven't seen it. I'm like, I want to watch it so bad, but I'm just like, I don't do well with like gore and like body things like that. Like I just feel like it's gonna freak me out. I did hear it's on streaming now, so maybe like an at-home situation would work better for me than in a movie theater. But regardless, it's just nice to finally see like an actress who has been working, like you said, for 40 something years to finally get this recognition. And it was just, she really gave like one of the most unbelievable speeches of the night, and honestly of the award shows in the last few years. It was just so touching, and you could just tell how much it meant to her and how much its role means to her. The entire point of The Substance is a old actress kind of trying to stay young and stay present or whatever. So to see her be told once that she was just a popcorn actress and now winning a Golden Globe, and I definitely think this is not the first award she's going to win for The Substance, and I really think it's going to open up a lot of doors for her in the next few years for some big major roles. I'm just very excited to see what this next chapter for her kind of has, you know, in store. And then of course, you know, not we can't talk about her without talking about all this Kylie Jenner drama. I don't think it's as deep as everybody's making it out to be. Do I think Kylie Jenner deserves to like be ignored at the table? No. But Kylie Jenner wasn't there as, you know, she wasn't there to be the main event. She was there as Timothy's girlfriend. Like, I think we're also conditioned to the Kardashians and the Jenners being the center of attention always. And like when they show up to an event, like it is like jaw dropping. But like when you look at like the list of people who were in that room, Kylie Jenner wasn't at the top of like priority. You know, there were so many major movies and TV shows that came out in the last year that these people, it was their night. It wasn't a Kardashian or Jenner's night. And I just think like the internet has a hard time digesting that, if that's like the right way to put it. Like, I don't think she was snubbing her or like trying to be rude. I think she was just like reeling from the fact that she just won her first award ever and was like trying to chat with the people at her table, and like I don't think she was ignoring Kylie to be a bitch. Like, I don't think that's her forte or her MO. Like, I think it was just an unfortunate turn of events and like the way that the camera took it. And like, even if she was ignoring her and snubbing her, who cares? Like, why is that what we're focused on? Her daughter, of course, because everyone has to make a statement now, her daughter ended up taking to Instagram and saying hi at everyone, but really the press, nipping this straight in the butt. We spent New Year's with Elle, so connecting with her after a win was a very organic thing to do. This angel was in total shock and delight and moving throughout a room of well wishers, excuse me. There was no snub of any sort. Had she seen KJ wanting to congratulate her, she would have fully given her the time and space. And I just like, she's not known to be a bitch or to like snub someone. I don't think it was like thinking she was better than her or anything. I just think like this was her moment and she wanted to have it. Like this is your moment. Have it. I just like I don't understand how like people are trying to take away from her winning this award and focus on like, oh my God, she snubbed Kylie Jenner at the table. Like she is a grown woman. She is a fully functioning grown adult woman. Do you think her forefront is thinking, let me not speak to Kylie Jenner? No, she's like, let me talk to Elle Fanning, who I just spent my holiday with, and celebrate this win that I've been working 45 years for. Like, I just think it all gets so mixed up in the like, in the internet culture that it's just like, can we just like take a step back and take a deep fucking breath? Because it is not that deep. Making our way through the Golden Globes, I mean, can we just talk about how incredibly pure Michelle Yeoh is? Her little moment on stage saying that people are calling her mother and people are saying that I'm slaying the boots down house or whatever the fuck she said. Like, it was just so pure and so cute. And like the way that her and Ariana and Cynthia were like going back and forth and her and Jeff Goldblum's repertoire back and forth, like it was just such a wholesome moment. It really just solidified for me at least that like the Wicked cast really did have such a bonding experience while filming these movies. And I just feel like in the next few years, like it's going to be like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. It's going to be like Mean Girls. Like when you see that cast get back together and reunite, like we're going to have moments like that where it's going to be, or even like the Friends cast, like when we see like Jennifer Aniston hanging out with Courtney Cox, like it's going to be those moments in the next few years where like we see them all together and it was just like they had such a great bonding experience filming these movies that like they are going to be in each other's lives forever. Like, dare I say, they've been changed for good. It's so pure, it's so cute. We need to protect Michelle Yeoh at all costs. She's too good for the world. Also, Zoe Saldana being the first Dominican American to win an award for Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. She has been working, just like Demi Moore. They have been working for fucking years, and it is about time that these ladies get the recognition that she deserves. I thought that her speech was so touching and so cute. You could really, I mean, she literally could like not say enough on that stage. They were like rushing her off. You could just tell how much it meant to her. And I think we're in this era of like people finally getting the recognition that they deserve. And like it's not the same people over and over and over. And people are really taking chances on these actors and actresses who have been working so hard and trying so hard and just like really giving their all to these projects, and they're finally getting this recognition. And it's so rewarding to see as like a viewer and consumer of media and culture. It was just like a very heartwarming moment. And then we also had that really sweet moment where Anna Sawai won for Best Actress in a Television Drama, which was obviously just incredible for her to win because like good for you, this is like what you were working for. But also 40 years ago, Yoko Shimada won the same award for playing the exact same role in the 1980s iteration of Shogun. So, it's just such like a full circle moment for her. And Yoko has now passed away, but being able to fill that role and play it and pay homage to her and then win that same award where back 40 years ago she made history winning that award had to be such like a sweet full circle moment for her. So I just love when we have these like wholesome hope core moments at these award shows because they are so glitz and glam and who's wearing what, who's sitting with who's snubbing who at what table, like, but then we have these moments that are just so sweet and like moments to celebrate, and like it's what makes these award shows to me worth watching. Like, of course, I love the drama and I love the tea and I love all of that. But like, when it really boils it down, like, I'll remember Demi Moore, Zoe Saldana, like all of their speeches over the drama between Demi Moore snubbing Kylie Jenner. Like, those are the moments that like make these shows so fun and, just like I said, that like hope core vibe to these award shows. And then the final thing we're going to talk about regarding the 2024 Golden Globes, I need to like fan myself down because Andrew Garfield, the man that you are. Now, it is no shock to anybody listening that like Andrew Garfield is one of my number one celebrity crushes. He has been for years. Like that is my white boy of the lifetime. But the way he put those glasses on while presenting that award, I honestly like he did it and I kind of gasped. Like I was literally like, like it was like, it took my breath away. Like he is so fucking good looking. Oh my God, I can't. And a lot of you bitches haven't been around on the Andrew Garfield train. Like, that has been my man. And now everybody wants to jump on, and he's so hot, and they love him, and da 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 da. Get in line, take a number, because that is my man. And oh my God, he is just chef's kiss, the bee's fucking knees. And that is the Golden Globes 2025. I think this is like a fabulous way to kick off award season for 2025. Like, we are really in for it, I feel like, with these awards. I'm curious to see if Wicked ends up sweeping. They only won the award for like box office whatever the fuck. Like, they won like the Barbie award last year, so not off to a great start for the cast or whatever. But like, I do think the Golden Globes were prioritizing other pieces of media versus like who the Oscars and everybody else will, nominate and win, whatever. So I do think there is a lot still at stake for Wicked. I do think they're going to end up winning awards. I mean, they won, they won the one, whatever. But I do think there is more in store for them as we go. But this really did kind of like show us that like it is anybody's game this year. Like, they shuffled it around. Like, it wasn't just like it was one big sweep this year. It was like, I mean, of course, Shogun and Amelia Perez won the most awards, but it wasn't like they won like 9. They won, I think, 3 and 4. So it wasn't like a huge major sweep like we've seen in the past. So very curious to see, what movies end up, coming out on top, and like if it is kind of like an even spread across all the award shows. But we're going to have to just wait and see. That wraps up our Golden Globes conversation for the week. And I am so excited to announce that our TV recap this week is covering Drag Race Season 17. God, it is so good to be back recapping Drag Race. I am so excited to dive into this episode. But before we get into the recap, obviously I have to just like take a moment and like send my love and condolences and just like mourn the Vivian for a second. Anybody who doesn't watch Drag Race or like doesn't know, the Vivian was the winner of Drag Race UK Season 1. She was a beloved queen. She was hilarious. She was so one of a kind. She was so quick. She was gorgeous. Like, she was really like an all around, such a well-rounded and incredible drag queen, and just like a great person that you could just, you could tell that like she was so loved within the drag family. Like, all of the posts dedicated to her from these Drag Race girls are so heartfelt and have such personal experiences that they've had with her individually. So it just really goes to show that like she really was somebody who loved and cared for everyone and made sure everybody was having a good time and was like making everybody laugh. It's so sad. I haven't looked into, how she passed. I don't think we know that just yet. Not that it matters. Like, you can't change the past, but just so heartbreaking and such like a sad way to start the year, especially with DragCon UK coming up this weekend. Like, that, it's so heartbreaking. And as soon as I like didn't believe the news, like I was like, there's no way, like there's no fucking way she was 32 years old and she's gone. Like, she has such a crazy career ahead of her, and just breaks my heart. But all of that being said, we do have a new season of Drag Race that, we can kind of turn to and hopefully find some positivity in. And let's get into season 17, episode 1. It kicked off a little strange with the Squirrel Games bit, the Squid Games vibe, like whatever. I guess they're just trying to, spice it up this time. And they were like, well, we're not going to do a split premiere finally, thank fucking God. But let's give them a little something in the beginning. And you know what? It's RuPaul's world and I'm just living in it. It is what it is. It didn't take away from the episode at all. It didn't like change. It didn't make me want to turn it off. It was like 4 minutes, then it was on with this. So if it made RuPaul happy, it makes me happy. So after we see all these past queens get pied in the face, we finally get these entrance looks. We're going to go through the entrance looks quick. We're going to go through the runway and then the talent show. And then we are going to wrap up this episode because I've been yapping for a while. So the first queen to walk into the workroom. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I'm so excited to talk about Drag Race again. Oh my God. The first queen that we see walk into the workroom is Lexi Love in a stunning entrance look. Oh my God. It was gorgeous. The feathers, the wings, the red and the white. I am very excited to see Lexi Love on this season. She said to be doing drag for 13 years. So I'm very excited to see like what she has up her sleeves. I also think she's just going to be like hilarious this season. She seems like very shady, but like has the grounds to stand on for it. So I'm excited for her. Then next up we had Joella. I liked her look. Was it anything crazy? No. I have some premeditated opinions on her just from like things that I know within the community. I'm not going to get into it, but I I mean, I'm not going to let it make me not like her, but like her performances this week just didn't really add to it, but we'll get into it. But I thought her entrance, look, I love a cultural moment. I do appreciate when a queen like pays homage to their roots and where they come from. So I did think it was like a very well put together garment. And I did like it. I'm already kind of like with Joella. But that being said, this next bitch I'm already obsessed with, to flip the script. Corey King. She is going to be the confessional queen of the season. She is hilarious. I mean, anybody from Boston just has that like grit and attitude to them, and it is already shining through. I liked her entrance look. It wasn't anything like groundbreaking or crazy. It was definitely giving a reference to, Mother Rue, but I liked it. It was cute. Very, very excited for Corey King on this season. Next up, we had Lydia B. Collins. The B stands for butthole, which is just so funny. And I need to start taking tally of how many times RuPaul says butthole this season, because I feel like it's going to be like in a Guinness Book of World Records or something. She's definitely the spooky queen of the season. She's definitely, her name is literally from Beetlejuice. So definitely excited to see like what she has in store as far as those like spooky, ooky, kooky vibes. Like I feel like she's going to bring some fun like horror to the runway. And she did say that she prioritizes creativity over perfection. So I'm curious to see like how that comes about and how that like helps her or hurts her in the competition, because when it starts to get down to those final weeks, like perfection is kind of what you have to strive for, unfortunately. Like you really have to stand out. So if things aren't like fully polished or done, like I'm curious to see like what she means with that and how it's gonna affect her in the long run of the competition. But very excited for her this season. I think she's gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Another kooky bitch who I'm very excited for is Arietti. She seems so fun and just like out of the box. She really has like her own style of drag. I mean, that entrance look, the leather, the spiky hair, like her nose contour that she does, she's really, really cool. She has a really cool look about her. So I'm excited for her this season. Next up, and one of my favorites this season already, is Jules Sparkle. I think she is going to be so much fun to watch this season. I loved her entrance line. I'm not just a bitch, I'm that bitch. Incredible. Like I said, I love her already. I think she's going to be a really funny confessional queen. I do think that like she's leaning a little bit on the Ariana Grande references a bit too much already, but it was only in the two looks, only in the entrance and the runway. I do think like her talent show did give us a different side of her, which we'll get into in just a bit, but already loving her. Another bitch who I am already loving and I am going to be rooting for this entire season is Lana Jarrett. I saw her with Sasha Colby last March. Doesn't matter what month it was, whenever it was. When I saw Sasha Colby last year, Lana Jarrett was the like intermission performer, and she was unbelievable. I've seen her a few times. I've seen her at $3 bill. I've seen her, in the New York City scene, and she is just stunning. I mean, she's Lux Noir London's drag daughter. She's going to be fucking stunning. Her entrance look was unbelievable. Not a single note. We stand. I am rooting for her this season. Next up, we had Sam Stars, who I have a mixed feeling about her, because I do think she's very good at drag, but I do think she's going to annoy the fuck out of me. And it might have just been like the red, white, and blue giving me like the ick, because like, how are we in this state of the world and you're so like America patriotic? But I'm not going to, judge a book by their entrance look. I will give her the benefit of the doubt, I guess, for now, but I am definitely watching her with a magnifying glass, because I feel like she's going to teeter the line for me, and I'm curious to see more of her before I form a full opinion, but first impressions do matter. And on the topic of first impressions mattering, Anya Nerve. I hated her entrance look so much. Love her name. I think it's an incredible drag name, like Anya Nerve. Hilarious, obsessed. That entrance look was just not doing it for me. I don't want to get too into it, but that's all I'm going to say there. Next up, we had Susie Toot, which I just love the name. I think it's so funny. I did like the look. I think she's going to be a lot of fun. Her makeup is a little jarring. I do agree with Michelle in this instance, where like her makeup, though I do love like a signature stamp for your face, I do think hers is a little like, oh, like it's like, whoa, what's going on? Like it's a little jarring. So curious to see. There was a preview of her. I don't know if it was for this week coming up or like another episode later in the season where her makeup is completely different. So I'm sure she's going to get that edit of like, we're telling you to change your makeup look. Like, why are you doing the same thing? And then when she changes it, she's going to be like stunning and she'll win the week. You know, it's like this typical drag race pipeline for these girls. So I'm very excited to see her, but she was just, I mean, spoiler alert, she literally was the top queen this week, and I think she deserved it, which we'll get into in a bit. But I did like her entrance. Like, I thought it was cute. Next up, Hormona Lisa. It was cute. I didn't love the look though. It was like, it was fine. It was what it was. But I will say I was a little annoyed at her being like, RuPaul handpicked me at her book signing. Like, did RuPaul not handpick all of the girls in the room? Like, everybody had to audition, and you know, Ru had to pick them at in some capacity. So like, yes, I get it where like you handed RuPaul your audition tape on a flash drive at the book signing, but like, it's not like RuPaul doesn't have her hand in picking all of the queens, you know? Like, and I if she leaves it at episode 1, I'm fine with it. Come in, make your mark, do your thing. That's fine. But if she continues with this storyline through the whole season, I'm gonna have a problem with it, but we'll get into that when we have to get into it. Next up, we had Crystal Envy, who is so gorgeous. I do know of her, one of my friends who does drag. Hi, Blake, if you're listening. She works with her a lot in New Jersey. So I do have like, I've known about her. She's gorgeous. The dress was very pageant, which is her thing, and I'm very into it. So I'm excited for her this season. I just think she is like so stunning. Next up, Acacia Forgot. Again, love the name, but unfortunately, I did forget about this outfit. I don't love it. I just feel like it's RuPaul's Drag Race season 17, right? So like at this point, you know what the expectation is and like how you have to perform on this show to really like make a name for yourself. And I just don't know if like this look was doing that for her. But again, we'll give her time. We'll see what she does and how the season goes on. But first impressions, like I said, they do matter. And this just wasn't a great one for me. Maybe for other people, but for me, it wasn't. But a first impression that I have not been able to stop thinking about is Lucky Stars. That entrance look was unbelievable. I loved every single second of it. It was so well done. It was so colorful and so much to look at, but it was digestible. Everything she had on her look made sense and served a purpose. And it wasn't just like thrown on and, you know, I wanted to make a splash. So I made myself colorful and had things coming out of my body. No, it was, you could look at it and it wasn't overwhelming in a sense where you were like, what the fuck am I looking at? But you liked it. You know what I mean? And I'm really excited to see what she has in store for this season because I'm buying everything she is selling. So based off entrance looks alone, my favorite top 3 were Jewel Sparkle, Lana Geray, and Lucky Stars. We then end up finding out that Lana Geray wins the first mini challenge without meaning to. We had to stand. And I will say the moment between Joella and Katy Perry in the workroom was really, really sweet. It was that had to be such like a surreal moment for Joella to like have your number one, like the person, like the pop star who made you kind of want to go into drag. Like she said, like, walk into the workroom and be like, oh my God, it's Joella. I know you. Like that had to be such an out of body experience. So that was really cute. And I did love that. We then find out that the runway for this week is going to be Mask for Masked Singer, which is so funny. And that the main challenge of the week is going to be Drag Queens Got Talent. So the girls are going to be split half and half. We saw half the girls last week. We'll see the other half this week. Let's get into these runways. Let's get into this talent show. First up, we had Acacia Forgot. And again, I forgot. I didn't like this look. It didn't do it for me. And I feel like I'm ragging on her a lot this season, but I'm just telling you how I see it. It just wasn't for me. I didn't love it, but you know what? Maybe it's not for me to love. Maybe it's not for me to get, and that's fine. It is what it is. Next up, we had Joella. I didn't love this look. The hair was really cool. I will say I did like the hair and I like the movement of like the cape, but I didn't think like that wasn't a mask to me. Like she was holding like a moon thing in front of her face and then removed it. To me, like a mask is like it's attached to your face. You know, you don't have to hold it up. It's I don't know, maybe no, because you think, no, you know what? I'm wrong. We're going to correct ourselves in 2025 and we're going to admit when we're wrong because you could hold a masquerade mask and it's a mask. You know what? I'm sorry, Joella. I take it back. I still didn't like your look though. Next up, we had Jewel Sparkles. Again, I loved it. It was giving an Ariana reference. It kind of was giving like the Grammys dress that she wore that like broke the internet. But you know what? I fucking loved it. It was stunning. She looked gorgeous. Next up, we had Arietti, another one. I loved this look. I thought she looked so cool. She's really gonna bring it this season, I feel like, and I'm excited to see somebody do something different, you know, bring us like a fun, funky style of drag, and I feel like she's gonna be one of the girls to watch this season. Next up, we had Lydia Butthole Collins. I didn't love her look. It didn't really do much for me. I did think like the masks were cool, like having the multiple reveal factor. I thought that was cool, but like it was kind of just like a bodysuit with like silver things on top of it. I don't know. It wasn't anything like wow for me, but again, I did like her entrance look, and I do think that she has like a really fun spin on drag. So I am looking forward to her this season. This just like wasn't it for me. Next up, Lucky Stars. This was such a really cool look. It was really inventive, really different. Similar to Joella, I have a note that like it wasn't a mask, but obviously I've like debunked that. It was cool. I loved it. It was very fun, very funky. Definitely not something we've seen on the runway before. Was it my favorite of the week? No, but I do think that like her looks have such a different caliber of work that goes into them that like it's not always going to be for perfect, but it is going to be very authentic and unique. And for that, I appreciate her. Next up was Miss Susie Toots. Didn't love this look. I didn't really like anything about it. I'm not going to lie. But my opinion, I do think Susie had a killer episode this week. And like, if this is, you know, if her one slip up is this runway look, that's fine with me. I loved her talent show. Spoiler. I loved her entrance look. It's fine. I think, you know, not everyone's going to be perfect all the time. Next up, somebody who I thought was perfect this entire episode was Corey King. That hair and the feathers and just that dress, like she looked expensive. She looked so rich, and I really like this look. I'm just really excited for Corey this season. I think she's really going to be funny and just like bring a fun element of drag. I mean, the body is just like unbelievable. Oh, I'm really excited for Corey this season. Next up, we had Hormona Lisa. The mask really threw this for me. It was like that skunk outfit, which anyone who didn't watch, this sounds so crazy, but she did like a couture skunk dress and she had a skunk mask on and she looked like a furry. I think if you couldn't see through her eyes, it would be a lot more digestible, but being able to see her through the mask really just like took me out of it. And it looked like she like ordered a skunk mask on Amazon and then made this like couture black and white dress. Like I loved the dress and I did like after she took the mask off, but when it's like a mask thing, like the mask is the main point of the runway, it just took me out of it and didn't do it for me. But once she took the mask off, I loved the dress. I thought she looked really, really good. I thought it was fun. I thought it was silly, campy. Next up, Crystal Envy. I loved the mask. I thought the dress was cute. It wasn't anything like groundbreaking. It wasn't crazy. It was just like, you know, frilly, short, cute. I thought the mask was really, really cool and a unique way to do it, and the way it like face cracked in the middle. I love that. Thought it was really, really fun. Next up, Lexi Love. Fun nod to MTV as the Moon Man. It was just like a fun pop culture reference. And then when she took off the helmet, she was giving like alien girl vibes, Lisa Frank, if you will. Like it was just a good look all around. I really, really liked it. And again, I'm really excited to see where she goes for the rest of this season. Lana Jarre, I really, really liked this look. I didn't think it was my favorite of the week. I thought there could have been some like fine tuning to it that could have just like took her to that extra level. But the body is crazy. She knows how to walk a runway. And I did love the personal connection to her cat. I thought that was really, really cute and like a fun kind of nod to her personality just within episode 1. Like it made us get to know her a little bit faster than we do with some of the other girls. So I did appreciate that. Next up, On Your Nerve. And again, it just didn't do it for me, which is upsetting because I really want to like her. Because like to come up with a name like On Your Nerve, you have to have like some fun creativity underneath those layers. And I get what she was trying to do with the look. I just think similar to like Lucky Star's entrance look. You looked at that look and it was like not overwhelming. You knew what you were looking at. It was digestible. This look, it wasn't digestible. I didn't know what I was looking at, and once she said it, I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I get it. But you shouldn't have to have an explanation for a look to understand it, especially when she's trying to tie in like her culture and her blackness into the look. It just was like a lot going on with all of it. I didn't get the like it was just a lot. I really hope this is just like, she's starting out with some cold feet and then she'll bring it, because I really want to love Anya Nerve. So we will, hold space for that as the season goes on. Next up, we had Sam Starr. It was pretty. I liked the concept, but I didn't think it was a mask, really. It was like a rain cloud with like shiny strings coming down from it. And I did really like the concept. Once she took it off, I thought she looked gorgeous. And I liked like the rainbow in her hair. I thought that was really cool. She's very polished. She's very everything. It's like she's Trinity the Tuck's daughter. Like everything's going to have a place, look good, like do what it is. But it wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't bad per se. Like it was fine. So my top three favorite looks from this week were Jewel Sparkles, Corey King, and Lexi Love. Moving on to the talent show again, we only had half the girls this episode, so we only saw 7 of them. First up was Jewel Sparkles. Lots of fun. I thought it really showed her personality, and like I was saying earlier, her 2 looks were such references to Ariana Grande that it was almost starting to get like, oh, is she just going to be like the Derek Barry of Ariana Grande? Like, is she just going to continue to do Ariana Grande impersonations? But this really did show us like a fun, silly side of her. And we got to see her perform, and she's a killer performer. So it definitely kind of like opened that door for us. Now we know there's more to her than just these like, ballerina Ariana kind of inspired looks, which I did love, don't get me wrong, but you want more than just that. Next up, we had Arietti, which I did like it, and I thought her dress was beautiful. I thought it was really fun, again, to like play into her culture, whatever, but I needed to go a step further. One of the girls said in their confessional, just slipping mind who, but they were like, anybody can twirl a dress, but like, what makes it you and what makes it unique more than just you doing it? So I do think she has a lot more in her, but this just wasn't I wanted her to just go like one step further with it. Next up, we had Lydia. This had potential to be so good, and as soon as she stepped out of the giant puppet, it just fell flat because it went nowhere. I think what she could have done to really take this to the next level is come out of the giant puppet with a mini hand puppet of the giant puppet and finish the routine like as like a marionette. Like I think that would have been so funny and just shown her personality and taken it again like Arietti one step further. But can't change the past. Wasn't my talent show. Next up with Lucky Star. So much fun. So campy. She's going to be one to watch this season because she's fucked up in her brain. Like she has some crazy kooky mind shit going on up there. Squirting lemonade out of your tit and having your ass cheeks be lemons. Like it was so crazy, but it really just showed us like she has no boundaries and no limits to what she will do on that stage. Next up was Joella. I have one word, boring. Didn't love it. The only reason Joella was not in the bottom is because Katy Perry was there and the girls were gagged. I'm just going to put that there and move on to the next one. Another one. Didn't really do anything for me. Acacia Forgot. She just isn't doing it for me. I don't know. I just hope she steps it up because it's not doing it for me. And then Susie Toot ending it with a hilarious tap dancing routine. I mean, just like it was so out of the box and so true to her character that it just made her stand out. And I loved it. I thought it was so fun, so silly. And I'm really excited to see how she kind of plays this character throughout this season. It comes out to find out that Acacia Forgot is the bottom queen, which I could not agree more with. And the top 2 are Susie Toos and Jewel Sparkles. The girls go ahead and they lip sync to Woman's World by Katy Perry, which controversial, but you know what? It is what it is. And I do think I expected Jules to win. And like halfway through, I was like, oh, Susie's just not going to bring it. And then Susie started tapping those little feet on that stage. And I was like, oh, there she is. And I feel like Rue is going to have a lot of fun with her this season. I feel like she's going to be the one that Rue really not navigates. What's the word? Kind of like, oh my God, I can't think of the word. Whatever the fuck. Rue's gonna like her this season. I'm like having a brain fart. That being said, Susie ends up winning the lip sync. And next week we will find the next 7 queens doing their talent show. It just feels so good to be recapping Drag Race again. It was so much fun last season. And it gave me such a new appreciation for Drag Race. And I'm so excited to recap it. So we will recap it every single week. Ugh. I'm just so happy Drag Race is back. And that brings us to the end of the show. My God, I have been talking for so long. This is a long episode, but you know what? Let's go big or go home for 2025. And you guys know the drill. We end every single episode with my yes and my mess of the week. My yes being something I am loving, and my mess being something I am not loving. My yes this week is Lady Gaga. This week, she has joined Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson as the only artist in history to achieve multiple #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100 across 3 different decades. If you would have told me that Die With a Smile was going to be performing the way that it was when they announced it, I would have never imagined it. But you know what? Bruno Mars just has that magic and that sparkle that like people eat up. And people also do eat up Lady Gaga. Like whether you want to admit it or not, people love that rah rah bitch. So the two of them coming together and having this success, what a way to kick off 2025. I've been saying it's going to be a huge year for Gaga, and this is just such like a beautiful way to start the year. And my mess this week is Tyra Sanchez. Again, just tying back to Drag Race, she was the winner of Drag Race Season 2, and she has just kind of been like excommunicated from the drag community for multiple reasons. But this week specifically, she was making such disgusting and rude comments about the Vivienne after she passed away that like if your first thing to do after somebody dies is to post a shady tweet about them, you are so far fucked in the head, and you just need to like get off the internet, go away, go seek help. Because like reading those tweets, I genuinely was like, this is a beloved person in the drag community, and you are just jealous and envious of the love and success that she has had that you were not able to bring into your drag career. And I could go on for longer, but you know what? We're not starting the year like that. The universe is already trying me with my tripod breaking, and I am not putting that energy into 2025. That being said, we have made it to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you leave us a 5-star rating. It really helps the show so much. If you would like to follow me on social media, I am at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. You can also follow me on my personal at Andrew Nucatola. And I say it every single week, but if everybody listening to this episode sends it to one friend, I will double in listeners. It is simple math. You know, it is not hard. I'm not asking you to do rocket science. Share it with a friend if you like what you heard. It's the best way to, you know, share the wealth and help the show grow. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.